Foot in Frothies. It's Daggy and Barney. Barney's ready for bed. I'm making him stay up late because I'm a dick bag.
Alive.
We've got to preview round 25. Clutch time for some of these teams. David, what's going on?
Big time. Not much, mate. Just looking to get to bed. Not looking forward to going back to work tomorrow, but you get that.
All right, please drive safe for the sake of all of us and our listeners, and also the fellow road users. Supercoach, let's touch on our two Footy and Frothies leagues. We'll be doing the same again next year, thanks to the tremendous interest this year. We had two that filled up in a heartbeat. I don't know how we'll work it next year. We might have a couple and then a group for a playoff, maybe best group result. We might send a hat or something. Anyway, this week in Frothing Footy, Lloyd Coopermaker, good fan of the show, good man, is in prime spot, taking on GT in the major semi, and Danon's taking on Shayna in the other one for their spots in the final. And in the Footy and Frothies Original League, Jack, Robbo's Rompers, is in primary position, taking on Bondi Cheezels and Michael. Danon again has made it through, who did join us and provided some insight. Usually just leeches of us, but did provide some insight in our Supercoach preview at study. He'll be back again next year.
Quite good, the preview.
He was good, and he'll join us perhaps for some very... We're going to... Actually, I'm thinking we'll get him and Damo on for our Parramatta season review.
That could go for 4 hours.
Have a
Very
therapy
good.
session.
Look forward to that.
He's taking on Ben, the Grizzlies, who came second. So very, very good and very high-level results. Outstanding efforts because they weren't weak comps. Barring the Empire,
no, definitely not. There was some real big scores. There's one or two guys down the bottom of the that dropped off a little bit towards the end of the season, but that generally always happens. But yeah, we were. I think both our leagues averaged well over 1,000, so that's definitely a good start.
Yeah, no, competitive stuff. PCTC, everyone tipped the round except Barnes, so that was good. Status quo remained. Of course, check them out, our tipping partner. They'll be back next year, and we'll talk to Gaz and get him back on in the new year. I feel like I'm very.
I couldn't shake the feeling that there was going to be an upset. Yeah, talk myself into something that didn't happen.
No, he did not. So those of us that played with a straight bat were rewarded. Although, anyway, move on. You can listen to our review. Round 25 is coming up, and there's some clutch games. We've got some 6-point games coming up this week, Barn. 3 of them, in fact. Cowboys, who are 9th, currently take on the Sharks, who are 5th. The Eels are 10th, Roosters 11th. So there's a swing, which is going to definitely put the stake through the heart of one of those teams. And the Knights and Bunnies play off for that 7th spot. Now, that's a real clutch game. So you've got to say, at the end of the day, good comp when it's coming right down to this. But we kick off.
It'll happen again next week and the week after as well.
Correct. There's more up the sleeve there. And it's all, I think we forecast it's all going to come down to that Bunnies Roosters game, and I reckon it's happening. And we actually probably forecast that Sharks Raiders game at the start of the year as well. So
I think we did, yeah.
We had to forecast something right, I suppose. All righty. It all kicks off on Thursday night, where the Cowboys in Townsville are hosting the Sharks. For the Cowboys, Nano's back. He is, in fact, starting, so he must be good to go. From his shoulder injury, Cohen Hess back to the bench. Tanua Brown back to 18th man. Kyle Felt is on the wing. Valamai is in the team, and Tuolangi's moved into the centres. James Tamo is on the extended bench as he...
Yeah, Tamalolo's starting as a prop.
Tamalolo's starting in the middle, that's right. And the bench is starting to look like it's got some size about it. So good times for them. The Sharks. Hazelton's back. They can use him. They've been pretty good without him, but that's a good in. Calhoun disappears back to the bench, and that pushes back to the extended bench, in fact, back to 20. Moylan keeps his 17 spot. The rest is what we saw last week. This is a good matchup, Barn. A couple of teams that suits, and I dare say Cowboys springboarding off the bye is the best thing that could happen to them because they were petering. What do you do here, though?
Yeah, they were. They did look like they were. They needed a rest there. The centre matchups here, for mine, is a really big one. Will go a long way to playing out in this game because I think these two teams do match up pretty closely. And I think that whoever can get the better out of those matchups between Ramian and Talakai and Hiku and Tuolangi will go a long way to working out the result of this game. Ramian's been in tremendous form recently, and Talakai seems to be getting better each week for the last couple of weeks since he's come back. Uh, Hiku's been very strong this season. Tuolangi's been a bit hot and cold, but at his best, he can absolutely tear a game apart. So very worried about how many points the Cowboys can put on here against the Sharks. If they get it right, obviously the Sharks are going to have to do very well to catch them and drag themselves back into this game. I've just got a feeling the way their defense has been going recently, if they can keep the Cowboys to under 20 points, I think the Sharks are a good chance here. Um, I'm going with the upset. Obviously, as a Shark supporter, I think I really like the physicality they've brought through the middle of the field, and they're going to need every bit of it to get a match up against these Cowboys forwards who you mentioned look monstrous. With some of these guys in this pack, they got a massive
Wow,
pack.
I hadn't looked. I hadn't even thought about odds, but wow, outsiders, eh?
But yeah, the Sharks will. I think they can match it with them. Their form's been getting better recently. They put two really good games together. A bit of confidence off the back of that, and I'll go with the Sharks 1-12. I'm going to go with McGuinness man of the match again. I think he's been their best player for the last 3 or 4 games in a row, and we'll go with him for man of the match and first try scorer Mulatalo.
I think when you're on, and you've got to ride the wave, especially with the Sharks. They've now put two physical and impressive performances together. I'm going to stick as well. Everything inside me screaming Cowboys fresh is just what they
Yeah, me too.
needed. So I'm terrified. I'm by no means declaring them. I do think $2.40, $2.50, and maybe even the line's worth entertaining there, which 4.5. But I'm going to go with them. I'm a big fan of Tuolangi, and Sanders might even end up being his place, but he's now got to get himself there and work that around against two guys who are going to be physical and make him work for against Talakai, more to the point, and Mulatano, who are going to make him work for it. Uh, but I like what I've seen from Trindle, getting into his groove, a proper first grader that's doing proper first grade stuff. And I think the big bodies that have come back in for the Sharks have been good. So I hope they're up for this fight because, as you mentioned, it is terrifying that the physicality is what could cost the Sharks here. That's my concern if Luciano, Nanai, and Cotter get up for it and really start throwing bodies around,
Well, yeah.
their older bodies. But I'm going to go 1-12. I'm going to say man of the match. I'm going to go with McGuinness again. I think he is there, as I said in their review, heart and soul. He's what's going to drag them kicking and screaming if he has to a final, if he's capable of it. First try scorer, I'm going to go to that new look edge, and I'm going to go with Talakai. We get to the Warriors hosting the Seagulls at Daniel Anderson Stadium, 6 p.m. Friday, in what should be an entertaining game. Chance is back, which is always good. Egan's been named despite his throat concern. Now he can stick his head into unusual places. Poor old Wade. Bunty Afoa is in for Mitch Barnett, who had some stitches and is being rested this week. For the Seagulls, Brad Parker and Travojevic have both been HIA'd. Morgan Harper's back. That's a thing. And Tuolangi,
It is
he's
a
in the
thing.
back row. Jacob Arthur comes into the 17. Raymond Tuamalo Vega is still on the wing, and Schuster is still wearing number 6 for now. I'd be interested to see if we don't see Jacob Arthur getting a crack, which is quite an interesting case, Jacob Arthur, and I'm not going to keep you up too much longer, Barn, and it's something for our review. He's now been shuffled another peg back with Brooks coming. I hadn't really thought of that till now.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of talk around at the moment that Schuster won't be playing 6 in this game. He's going to
Well,
go
that's
back to
all I
the
read
back row,
today, but I'm just
and
interested to say that.
Arthur will be
Yeah.
starting in the halves. But yeah, it does. All the talk around is that he will definitely not be playing 6 next year, Schuster. So he's
Oh,
going to
we
have
know
to
that. They've just
find his
spent
way into the back
eight
row
and a half.
somewhere.
Yeah.
So he's still Jake Arthur's still the first backup at the halves, I would imagine, unless they do something crazy and do throw Schuster back in there if there's a problem in the halves. But he hasn't covered himself in glory at all. Josh Schuster, he's had his full year's crack at number 6, and I know there was a bit of injury and whatever in between at the start of the year, but I could count on the one hand how many good games he's had for the Manly side this year. So
For a bloke that just signed a 800k allegedly extension or something, he actually wouldn't make too many other first grade teams, just quietly.
definitely not at the halves. No,
Oh, we wouldn't make too many back rows.
no, that's true too.
So George would take him.
I'm a bit worried about this game. What Manly side turns up? Like, really, if they think that their season's gone here, they could just be going over for the weekend over in New Zealand. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, whether they put in 100% effort or not's yet to be seen. I say they do. I say they're competitive for maybe half an hour, 40 minutes of this game, and then the Warriors take over and win the back end of the game. I'm going to go with the Warriors 1-12 just because I think that Manly may, they fired some shots at Penrith last week. I think they'll probably come out and try and play the same sort of style rather than getting into a battle with these massive units in the middle of the field. So, uh, Manly, I expect Manly may even jump out to a lead early in this game, but I'm going to go Warriors 1-12. Sean Johnson, man of the match, just absolutely sublime this year, and tossing up. I wanted to say Metcalf, but I'm going to go with Dallin, first try scorer in the corner.
Very good. I'm going to say that Tigers overperformed last week just because I can, and they've got to overperform at something in life. So I think Warriors getting through that was a good thing. They're going to come back here, and I think they might put in a show. We've seen Penrith, we've seen Brisbane, we've seen Melbourne all do that lately, and Warriors were doing it beforehand. And you see they bounce off those flat weeks well. I'm going to say 13 plus Warriors. I'm going to go with the Sean Johnson show to continue what his season he's having. They'll cover that 12.5 line, as suggested
Right.
by 13 plus.
Yep.
First try scorer. Apologies to everyone there as I missed my mute button. I'm going to go with Rocco Berry getting over the top of Morgan Harper because it just looks like this shining beacon out on an edge. Bit of nice ball movement. It's either going to be him or Niokore getting over first. Man of the match, Sean Johnson, because that's what he does this year. Looking forward to it because this could be the game we rave about for like 3 minutes next week and move on. I don't even know what to rave about in this game. This is interesting. We get the Combank for the Chooks against the Eels. Mitch Moses is out now, so we've got Brown and Assey in the halves. We've got Sevo back, RCG back, both needed, much needed. Andrew Davies out for concussion protocols, and Joff goes back to lock. Guzzy Crichton, good to see him back from his MCL on the bench.
Yeah.
Napa moves out. Sam Walker is 18th man, so may well be hovering around. But given how Drew Hutchison plays, I suggest they're going to keep rolling with that. Brandon Smith and Sandon Smith will share the hooking roles. Good to see them stick with Baker and May on the bench, who did well last week. I think the season's over, Para. They might have even half checked out here. They get the first Mad Monday of the year. They may as well win something. They get a Monday off in a couple of weeks. I think Roosters come out physical and match this pack, which is the only real concern. If they can do that for a bit, the fact that this backline is getting so involved in the last month has been their strength. If they keep doing it, Tupou, Smith, Manu, and Swali are going to run rings around Penasini, Simonson, and Russell and Sevo. I'm going to go Roosters 1-12. I just think, too much out there, and we know Para are going to concede 20, and without Moses, I don't think they can save 20. Score 20, I should say. First try scorer, stick with the informed Billy Smith, man of the match. Luke Keary, who's been good but under the radar, but he's the one giving all that nice service out to that back line and getting it there clean and in time. So we might recognise him for that. But yeah, the likes of Nat Butcher in some very, very good form, Barn.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Parramatta will make it tough for the Roosters at the start of the game. First, probably half an hour or so, the forward battle should be good to watch. Parramatta may even get the edge in the middle, but once the interchanges start coming in, I think the Roosters will wrestle that back. I'm going to go with first try scorer Joseph Sawali. He's been much improved the last couple of games that they've put together. I can see him getting the first try in this one. Roosters 1-12. I think Parramatta will, hang on, make it tough at times, but the Roosters will have enough points in them to get away at the back end of the game. I'm going to go with Joey Manu. Again, as you mentioned, has been getting a lot more involved over the previous weeks, and I think he'll have a big impact in this game. Man of the match.
This could potentially push them into 8th spot, which is, as I said, they'll make the 8. And, they're 150 to 1.
I don't know if they'll make the 8. But...
Well, they'll beat these geeks. Anyway, we move on. Bloody, as I said, they're like cockroaches. You just can't get rid of them, the Roosters. The only thing I think on Tuali, geez, he's a pretty goal kicker, isn't he? He might kick the ball as
he's a
clean
very
as
nice
anyone in the game. Anyway, West Tigers, 3 o'clock at Combank, where we'll be in the Chairman's Lounge.
Yes.
Starting the shortest priced wooden spooners ever. $1.33 they are, the Tigers. We all know what's going to happen, but what could possibly go wrong in this game, Barners? They are unchanged from last week. The Dolphins,
compared to the Dolphins, who have had
who were
about 8 or
missing
9 changes.
who were missing Lemueli, Tabai Fido, Marshall King, Kenny Bromwich, Ray Stone, which means that their backline looks like Nikarima, Azarko, Bostock. We get to see Jennings and Asanas, New, Katoa Sullivan, Harrison Graham at 9. JJ Collins on the bench with Josh Milford and Wallace, and really, Ewan Aitken in the back row as well. That team sort of scares me, to be honest. Can you do it?
I'm not tipping the Tigers. I'm not fucking tipping them. I can see the Tigers running roughshod through the middle of this field, winning the position and possession battle for large parts of this game, and just not being able to score enough points. Then you'll see the likes of Tessinu, Isako, maybe even young Jack Boxstock causing plenty of problems for the outside backs of the Tigers, who remember that they're meant to tackle, but they're not quite sure how to do it properly. So, yeah, I'm going to give Cody Nikarima man of the match. I think he'll cause all sorts of problems chiming into that back line. Asako, the first try scorer, and I'm going to tip the Dolphins 1-12.
Bet of the weekend, the Dolphins. You can get 1-12. What price is that? Anyway, $3.30 head to head. That is giving away money. Dead set. Dolphins 1-12. Because for everything you said, Tigers, I'll sit here in a week's time and go, oh, if only this had happened and that had happened and the ball had bounced this way.
Good.
And Matt Nguyen had been in the box, whoever he is. It might have been different, but they'll find a way to lose.
Easily, but...
I know they should, but they won't. If hypothetically they were going to, I think Dane Laurie's hot streak could continue. But I'm going to go with I'm going to actually go Dolphins 1-12. I'm going to say Api Coruscant man of the match because he's good at footy, and first try scorer will probably be Azarko out there because that's what happens. And they'll probably be out to a 12-point lead, and then half time be 12-10, and then they'll come steaming home and lose by 3. Can't wait.
Very cool.
5:30, we get to see the Titans at Seabus Super Stadium host the Panthers. AJ's back on the extended bench, but given that Keanu Keeney is at fullback, if he's fit, I assume he starts at fullback because Jaden Campbell has gone to 6 with Forum out. Thomas Weaver, young gun I've heard from Queensland Cup, is starting half. Mo's back, so Tino goes to lock, which isn't the worst place for him to spend the next 10 years. But anyway, we've had that discussion before. Cleese Haas and Stimson onto the bench. Jacob Alec is the new face on said bench. For the Tigers, Luai's back. Kenny's back. Peachy's back. Colgo goes out. Hosking moves out. And the rest is what you would expect from the Panthers. Peachy actually starts at 3. No Tungo yet, and he's not on an extended bench. Spencer Leniu is, so we might see him. They're keeping a couple of guns up their sleeves, which is fair enough. Any hope for the Titans?
Unlikely. You saw what the Sharks did to their outside backs last weekend. And Penrith will probably be more clinical through the middle of the field than what the Sharks were last week. So, by the back end of this game, I expect it to be raining points for this Penrith side. 13 plus for Penrith. I was going to say Cleary man of the match, but I've got a sneaky feeling that Critter, Stephen Crichton, might end up with man of the match in this one. He's been getting better and better, and ever since sort of Origin finished, he's been improving week on week, and he's been in really good form in the recent weeks. And I'm going to go with Sorensen first try scorer. They like that little crash ball on the left there, and if he's aiming up on someone like Jaden Campbell, he might be able to just rush him aside and score the first try.
Unlikely. We saw what else did you say? Whatever you just said is about right. So I don't have much to add. I'm screaming to back Scott Sorensen for a first try scorer the next few weeks. I think by the end of the year, at his usual $26, he's a bit shorter these days. He's usually in the teens, but you'll get one.
He's about 9.
Have your $5 on him for the next couple of weeks. He's going to score one of them. So may as well come with you. Man of the match, Jerome Law, fresh, arrogant.
Had his war paint on at training today, apparently.
Did he? Oh, that's nice.
Which was interesting. Yeah.
Okay, cool. But he'll probably score. I reckon he scores a try and has 2 or 3 assists, just making him look silly out on that edge with his little dance that he does.
Yep.
The main event, we should be back at the Gums in time for this one, where the Dragons host the Storm at Winds Stadium. Lomax is back, and so is Francis Molo, both back from their concussions. Michael Molo moves to lock. BMM moves to the bench and catch from the other side. And same again for the Storm. No changes there. Harry Grant named at 9. We'll see if he does so. Pappenhausen's been sent back up to Queensland.
I thought Toby was quite good last week. I know they're probably looking at size because they've got Mulhausen and Couchman, who aren't the biggest guys in the world, on the bench, but I would seriously consider giving Ben Murdoch-Masila the week off and having another look at young Toby Couchman. But it is what it is. Apparently, Flanagan's already picking the side for the Dragons at the moment. So from rumours that I've heard. Yeah, apparently. Obviously, I haven't had it confirmed by anyone, but I've heard there's rumours out there that he started picking the side about 3 weeks ago when you did see some of the younger blokes start coming into the.
Well, he may as well get a good look at him.
Yeah. So obviously he's probably got a contact there, and he is probably asking to get some of the younger blokes in there to have a look at. But if any team's got a reason to check out this year, it's the Dragons. Coming up, I know they're at home at Wollongong, and that might get some sort of effort out of them. But coming up against the Storm side that's put a couple of teams away recently, and I expect the Storm to continue that trend here against the Dragons. A few of these young guys will probably have a go, but some of the senior players, I wouldn't be surprised if they just let this game go through to the keeper. Storm 13 plus. Harry Grant's been on fire, and long may it continue. Harry Grant, man of the match. Young Tonamapia scored the first try. I think he's been his effort in the last 2 weeks has been really noticeable and quite good. So I'll go with him.
Yeah, a little bit of pressure on him helps because I would imagine Olam's not far away. It's 50 here. I'm calling 50. I think the $15.5 $1.90 is a nice enough line. Storm will put a job on these. It's been competitive for about 13 minutes, and then once they start slowing down, Harry will be in and amongst it, and he'll be man of the match again. He's actually had a phenomenal last 6 weeks, and he's clearly the form hooker in the competition, actually, unless you're going to make a case for Appy in a team he has to single-handedly carry. Helps his injuries to a few other key ones, but yeah, man of the match, first try scorer. I'm going to go the other one, say Sevi. I liked what he did on the weekend. Thought he was pretty good. He was physical, and you'll get in and amongst these ones. So Sully's going to just be barged over. There's going to be cracks out there. Once the gates open, they won't close, and it's what Melbourne do. They'll be clinical. Munster will score a couple, where he has his little giggle and his laugh and shakes his head, and off they go. A cracker at a sold out McDonald's Jones Stadium kicks off Sunday afternoon, where Barney, I suppose you won't be on a backup, but I'm going to back up Dusty because UFC's on as well. I'll watch the Knights and the Bunnies from 2 p.m. where Jackson Hastings has been named. He's the big watch. Bradman Best has been named with no Tuala now. And the Bunnies now just get Cheekham back onto the bench, replacing Benjamin Lovett. Still got Arrow in there. And yeah, all looks about right. Not far off full strength now, apart from Tom Burgess. The Bunnies, or what would be considered full strength. Totola's on an extended bench. Sele's on an extended bench. They may well pop back into this team.
You don't be surprised if see Totola come in and
they need him. This is a cracker. If both these teams turn up as presented, this is a game. And I am going to tip the Knights because I haven't been impressed. I think this is it has to catch up with them at some point. This travel for the Bunnies. I don't think we've got a lot of time to get their shit together. I don't think they've really been matching up to a lot of teams physically, and Newcastle have. And I think their edge defence has been frantic. You saw it over in Perth, just how frantic it was. Showed a little bit again last week, but if Hastings plays, Ponga gets it right, Fitzgibbon gets it right, Gaio gets it right, Best gets it right, Marzu's going to score the first try, and even though one of them I just said was on the other side of the field, they can score points here. Newcastle can score 26, 30 points in this game. Can the Bunnies? Don't know. If they beat Knights here, then they're back. If not, get the big texter out. This might be the time we get rid of the Bunnies, and I'm going to go with, as I already mentioned, first try. I'm going to go Ponga man of the match because I'm going to keep planting my flag on him having a hot run.
Yeah, nice.
1 to 12
yeah,
for the record, but this could open up.
Everything in me is telling me to tip the Knights as well, but I'm not going to. There's a couple of players in this team that, for the South Sydney team, that just seem to rise when everything's on the line, and this is a game where everything is on the line for this South Sydney team. The crowd will help the Knights, obviously, but it also will get get the likes of Campbell Graham, Mitchell, and Walker up and about, I think, and this is pretty much the end of the line. As you mentioned, if they lose this game, you can pretty much kiss finals goodbye. So I expect South Sydney to be revving at their peak. Going into a bye, I'm pretty sure the following week, this is a must-win for the Rabbitohs side. So I'm going to go with Rabbitohs 1 to 12. I'm going with the Latrell man of the match. I think this is the table set for Latrell here.
Yeah.
This is the one where, if you got a full house up in Newcastle, you're expected to lose. And this is the kind of game he can come out and win on his own bat. And I'll go with him to score the first try as well.
He'll miss his 6 conversion and laugh at the crowd and throw the tee in and do all that sort of Latrell stuff. God love him. Okay, we'll move on. I went to buy a Troll Mitt. Yes. I went to buy a Troll Mitt shirt Troll Mitt country shirt the other day, but yeah, they'll be expensive.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I'd rather go.
There's a really good matchup in the forwards, and I think this will probably be close to the game of the weekend. Both teams really putting everything into this one. So,
I'd rather buy my shirts from rugbyleaguemerch.com, of course. Raiders versus Bulldogs, a GIO, where Jared Croker's back from his hamstring injury. Have we talked about this? He retired. We didn't really talk about it in the news.
He did retire.
And we won't. Wow, Sam Kerr's just nailed one. Sorry. Didn't really talk about this in the review show, but Jared Croker's retired. I won't keep you up, Barn, but it's something we'll touch on next week. Ethan Strange moves out. James Schiller has comes back into the team with Tom Starling on the bench as well. Trevelyan and Saulo both drop out. No Preston, so Corey Waddell starts in the back row. Liam Knight in the front row. Ryan Sutton's back at lock. Ugh. And Fatala Mariner is on the bench. Geez, I was hyped up to tip the Dogs here, but I'm having second thoughts. Barn, what are you thinking?
Yeah, after the performance they put in last week, I can't tip the Dogs at all. Same could almost be said about the Raiders, but they were playing the Storm, who were in top form last weekend. Just on Croker, obviously, ornament to the game. You got to his 300 games, which I think you and me were questionable about, and I think a lot of the NRL was questionable about whether he'd get to his 300 games. Leave his legacy right up there in the top point scorers of all time. So, by all reports, a wonderful person. There's too much strength in this Raiders forward pack. They'd have to play very poorly in the middle of the field, I would imagine, to lose this game. Liam Knight's interesting one coming back in, starting. The props might help them a little bit, but yeah, I think the Raiders dominate the middle of the field, and by the end of the game, I think they dominate the game. I've still only gone with them 1-12 because my big question mark with these guys for the entirety of the year has been where they score points from. Even up against the likes of the Bulldogs, I can see this being 20-12 job, something along those lines. Raiders 1-12, Fogarty man of the match, first try scorer Albert Hopewate.
I really want to tip the Bulldogs, but geez, I can't with that middle. And not for what they showed last week. I know Raiders 1-12, disappointingly. I'll play a straight bat. 1-12. This might turn into a car crash. 20 plays 12 or something in a shitbags game. Fogarty man of the match because his kicking has got them out of a lot of shit this year. And he's actually, we didn't really talk about in a review even, but some of his cover defense and cleanup work, he is a great 7 to have in a club team.
Yeah, he never stops on.
So
Never stops. Always
absolutely.
chasing.
So I'll go for him man of the match, first try scorer. I'll go against the ground and go my man Blake Wilson. Maybe give him a little bit of a hurry up early. Very interesting. Do you reckon, say 18 months ago, any teams in the comp would have killed to have Luke Thompson, Fatala Mariner, and Tavita Pengo Jr. on the bench?
Yeah.
Maybe 24 months ago. Teams would have bent
Yeah,
over backwards for that
would have been some
bench.
keen teams to. Yeah, would have been keen to have that bench.
Man, if we could have gone back in time and said, this will be the Bulldogs bench in 2 years, we would have been something. We wouldn't
Yeah,
have
it'd
said
been
much because we would have been
disappointing.
locked up all the
I
time.
expected them to get to the. I threw up and tipped them. I think to run 8th just for out of shits and giggles, but they should have been much closer to the top 8 than what they have been. Injuries obviously hurt in the middle of the field, but their forwards have been diabolical this year.
Well, the clean out, I couldn't imagine there's not some sort of tap on the shoulder for Pengo.
Yeah,
Anyway,
wouldn't think so.
that's all for later.
Frees up a lot of money for them anyway.
Yep, $500,000 for next year to buy someone from, I don't know, France or something.
I thought it was up near 750, 800, wasn't it?
Yeah, apparently they've got to pay $250 to him next year. I don't know why, but apparently that's what's happening.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right here.
Whatever all that means. Anyway, Barn, the silly thing we do with the betting, what happened? I did nothing.
Right, yes, we both lost again.
Shock.
Both of us let down by Latrell not scoring a try. I think we both had him in our anytime multis to score.
So he cost me 10.5 grand.
Metcalf scored, Grant scored, Stags. I think you missed Sorensen as well. I don't think Sorensen scored. But yeah.
Well, I sent him
And
an angry
Penrith-
Instagram message. That would have showed him.
Penrith was the one that cost me my big bet. I had Broncos, Sharks 13 plus, and Penrith 13 plus, and they won by 12.
Penrith aren't a margin team. Penrith just win.
Anyway,
Pretty
minus
good,
$749.50 for me, minus 860 for you, which put $2,000 worth of bets out there, so we got a little bit back, but hasn't been a very good year. I've gone with Sharks and Parramatta at 1-12, 2 upsets there, $11.30. I'm gonna have $25 on that. Anytime try scorers, I've gone with all the wingers to score here. I've gone Dallin, Albert Hopewate, Brian To'o, Isako, and Coates all to score at any time. That'd get you $10.25. I'm gonna have $15 on that. And I'm gonna have $10 on the trail to score the first try at $11.
I was going to just play a completely straight bat and just knock one down the ground and take Dolphins head to head. But I'm going to throw Dolphins into head to head, into Melbourne Storm minus a line, which is 15, into Newcastle head to head. $50 is going to return $900. Sorry, it's 800 and some 80, high 80s and change, but you'll find a boost for 9. Call it 9, Barn.
Yep. No worries.
Beauty. Good weekend. I'm excited for this weekend.
Frothing? Yeah, what are you
Yeah,
frothing
what
for?
has you frothing? What has me frothing? 2 things have me frothing. I am at
Yes.
froth. 3 things have me frothing. It becomes a
Right.
tongue twister. I am frothing for Thursday night because I think that is going to be a cracker.
Let's put me down for that as well.
The sort of game I would suggest we catch up for, but we're both dying, so I'm probably just watching a comfort from my own home.
Stolen mine.
I am frothing for the Chairman's Lounge on a fun afternoon out at the Tigers game and watch them get
That's
beat.
me. I'm done. I'm gone.
And
I've got nothing
I
else.
am frothing for the Sunday afternoon with my man GT, bit of UFC, and to watch the Knights knock the Bunnies out. Oh, can't wait.
Yeah,
Think of something good.
Pretty good game in hand. And I agree with all 3 of those, mate. I've got nothing more to add. We're frothing together this weekend.
Sounds hot. All right.
Not really.
To do that, subscribe to our OnlyFans. You can also subscribe to us on Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere else good podcasts are found. You can find us on socials at Threads, X, Insta, which haven't done a lot on admittedly lately, and Facebook. Leave us some feedback. Tell us what they're complete fuckwits, or tell us you like us. And
Exactly.
listen to Barney sign off because I'm done.
I'm out. I'm going to die now.
All right.
Bye.
Night. Love you. Bye.
See ya.